Alrighty, so we have Chase Hooper versus Steven Peterson. So Steven Peterson, he's coming off a 21-month layoff, quite a long time. I'm guessing it was a bunch of injuries. Well, I think it was a bunch of injuries. I'm not sure the specifics on what the injuries were, but I know he had some problems with his arm or something like that. And, you know, he's under 500 in the UFC. Like, he hasn't had the greatest career in the UFC. And he is a brawler. He will look to get in your face. You know, he's the type of guy that will eat two to land one type of fighter. And, yeah, I'm not going to beat around the bush. It's going to be a terrible stand-up fight if it does, you know, stay on the feet. Because Chase, his stand-up isn't great at all. He comes in as a southpaw. You can just tell he has zero power, zero snap behind his strikes. Throws a lot of lead leg offense just to kind of keep the opponent at bay, so he doesn't really have to deal with the boxing at all. And, you know, where do I start with the flaws of Chase Hooper's stand-up? We'll just start with he backs up in a straight line, backs up right onto the fence. When he does want to close distance, he'll do it recklessly. He'll leave his chin in the air and just move forward without setting anything up. His head doesn't move. He leans back with his chin in the air, asking to get KO'd pretty much. His lead hand drops after popping the jab. He has trouble defending leg kicks. Doesn't really know what to do with them. Telegraphs all of his punches egregiously. That's how he got caught against Alex Caceres. It was just made it super obvious what he wanted to go for and do there. His kicks are slow when he does throw them, and his hands are low when he's throwing the kicks. So yeah, that's basically it. But there's others that I didn't even mention. And for both these guys, I think they both prefer the fight to be on the mat, honestly. Steven Peterson a bit more comfortable on the feet, but I think both these guys prefer the fight to be on the mat. So for Steven Peterson, you know, he's got a double leg on the fence. He'll look to take you down. He'll look to take the back, get the body triangle on the back. He can be a little too comfortable off his back, you know. But same with Chase Hooper. And most of Chase's takedowns are reactive, and he will pull guard if he can't complete the takedowns. Like, his takedowns aren't very good when he does go for his own takedowns, like in the open. Like, when he tried to get that double leg on Peter Barrett and he had him against the fence, his posture just looked absolutely terrible. Like, he looked like the Sydney Harbour Bridge, just the way his back was arched when he was, you know, not engaging his hips at all with that double leg. And he just stalls there pretty much, you know. I don't think his wrestling is very good, and that's why he pulls guard so often. But on the mat, he is a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He's very quick to lock up arm bars, triangles, leg locks off bottom. You know, his leg lock game's pretty nice. A lot of fighters these days still don't know how to defend leg locks, so I feel like he catches a lot of people off guard, and, you know, it's still a kind of new concept in MMA. But yeah, so he will look to take the back in the clinch as well. He looks to get in a position to be able to jump back pretty much on the fence clinch, or in the clinch near the fence. And once he does get your back near the fence, or he gets in position there, he will try and push off on the cage and end up, you know, on the back, but he doesn't mind if he ends up on bottom either. How these guys win fights? So for Chase, he's got heart, you know, he's tough. But yeah, it does take a lot of damage, and he's got decent scrambles as well. For Chase, bloody hell, mixing the names up. So for Steven Peterson, he's durable. He's only been finished once in 27 fights, but he's so very hittable. But he's only been finished once in 27 fights, which is crazy. And how these guys lose, so both of them are very hittable. Both of them don't have the greatest strike and defense. For Steven Peterson, it's just the fact that he's not very skilled. Like, he's got heart, he's got grit, but he's just not very skilled as a fighter, and that's kind of, you see all the blemishes on his record, and that's probably the reason. And for Chase Hooper, it's the striking tendencies that we talked about before. It's that his takedowns aren't very good, and his striking game as a whole just sucks. No two ways around it. Path to victory for these two. So for Steven Peterson, look for the forward pressure, keep him against the fence, and don't give him any space to kick. Just keep him against the fence and just look to tee off, pretty much. Also, look for that inside leg kick of your own. Like, he doesn't check leg kicks at all. Look to keep it on the feet, in my opinion. I think you have the advantage standing. Path to victory for Chase Hooper. Look to level change under his right hand. I mean, he often doesn't set up his right hand, and he plants his feet and just fires it pretty much, so you can look to level change and take his base out from underneath him. And, you know, when you're on your back, look for reversals, look for leg locks, and then take the back when he does turn to, you know, get out of the leg lock. So how I see this fight going, so, yeah, I don't think Chase at this stage of his career belongs anywhere near the UFC, in my opinion. And the UFC are being super kind to him with these matchups. Like, there's some bad matchups for him, and there's very few good matchups for him, and they are trying to find him desperately. And, you know, Steven Peterson, he isn't very good either. He was probably on his way to leaving the company until he hit that 1 in a million spinning back fist against Martin Bravo. I mean, he was losing that fight. He's probably going to get cut after that. I really hope they do tangle on the mat, or else this fight's going to be really ugly to watch and real hard to watch if it's just going to be a stand-up fight. I think the pressure of Peterson will give Hooper some trouble on the feet. But, you know, Steven Peterson, he generally looks to ground the fight, which, you know, could give Hooper a way into this fight. So I think he should keep it on the feet, but he doesn't generally usually do that. On the ground, I kind of see Hooper reversing him and generally beating him in the scrambles on the mat, so I'd prefer if Peterson does keep it on the feet. You know, he is a veteran, so you'd hope he does come in with a good game plan. But yeah, Peterson seems pretty well versed on the mat as well, but I think Chase Hooper's scrambles are actually a decent part of his game, and I think he does have the scrambling advantage here, so I'd prefer if Peterson does keep it on the feet. But both these guys are kind of guys you like to fade as bettors and as tippers, so the fact that they got matched up together kind of sucks. And I was really hoping to like Peterson in this spot because you just want to fade Chase Hooper so badly, but, you know, he's just not inspiring on tape. He's just not inspiring at all, but he should win here. He really should win here if he comes in with the right game plan. Alright, so the prediction is Steven Peterson. I think he gets it done by decision. I think it should be a pick'em. I think I wouldn't have too much confidence in Steven Peterson. If either of these guys got to like $2.60, then I would be looking to make a play in this fight. But, you know, you have to have a pretty solid edge if you're going to bet one of these guys. And if you think you have a solid lean on this fight, which I definitely don't, but if you do, then I guess the line is good for you. But I don't have a solid lean on either guy. I think it's basically a pick'em. I'd slightly lean Steven Peterson. And, you know, a few bets I was looking at was probably Steven Peterson by submission, which I'm expecting it to be like a crazy price just because, like, you know, Chase Hooper, like, it's basically all he's got. His ground game, so, you know, they're like, yeah, they're probably assuming that he can't be defeated there, but there are much better grapplers than him in the UFC, and Steven Peterson is a competent grappler himself, and Chase, you know, does leave himself open quite a fair bit. He could rock Chase Hooper and get a submission there. But yeah, I think if I'm guessing they're gonna juice the price for Peterson's submission just because of the narrative with Chase Hooper, that he's very good on the ground and all that kind of stuff. You know, he's good on the ground, but, you know, it's not Damian Maia. So if Steven Peterson but submission is like plus $1,600 or $17, which I'm expecting the price to be around that price, like $15 at least, then might sprinkle a little bit on that because I think it is possible, absolutely, and I'm expecting them to just totally disregard that scenario.